Hello, my friends. Lucy, I'm so very proud of you for being willing to share your story last week with all of us and being super brave. I know sometimes it's not easy to share your story, but guess what? Today, that's exactly what we're talking about. We are talking about stories. And I'm wondering if I show you guys some stories that I brought with me, maybe you guys can guess and see what those stories are. Do you guys want to try? See if you guys can figure out what the story is, okay? All right, here's my first story. You ready? What story is this, guys? Daniel in the lion's den? You're right, you got it. How about this one? Anybody know? Jonah in the whale or the big fish? How about this one? This one's a little bit different. Joseph in the coat of many colors. How about this story here? One of my favorites. Anybody know? Did you say David and Goliath? Then you're right, it is. All right, I've got one more story for you guys. See if you guys can guess what this story is. Noah's Ark. You're totally correct. Here's the thing. What do all of the stories that I just showed you have in common? Does anybody know where we can find all these stories? We can find all of these stories in one book called the Bible. The Bible is made up of many different stories of people being brave enough to share their story, to write it down, and to tell about the wonderful things that God did in their life. That's what Daniel did when Daniel was in the lion's den and God shut the mouths of the lion. Daniel wrote down and told all about it in his story. That's the same thing that Jonah did when God rescued him from the belly of a whale. Yep, the whale spit him out after 3 days. And he wrote down his story. That's the same thing that David did when he went up against the giant Goliath. The thing is, guys, we are still writing stories about the wonderful things that God is doing in our lives. Kind of like last week when Lucy did her story on her epilepsy and how God has been keeping her safe. She's been 2 years seizure-free, which is a big deal and such a miracle. God still does miracles today, and we each have a story to tell. And our story will show the wonderful things that God is doing in our lives today. Not just way back when in Bible times, but we can keep record of our story and how God has changed our lives today. So Miss Kate's challenge for all of you is to get a journal and write down the wonderful things that God has done in your life, and to be looking for them and to be hopeful for the future, and to remember that God is with you and beside you, and maybe one day you can add to the story of life, the Bible. Your story can be one that encourages people to believe in God. Your story can be one that encourages you if you need to read it again so you can see where God was faithful to you. One day, maybe there'll be a book of Milo, a book of Lucy, a book of Tristan, a book of Lily, a book of Lyra, a book of so many beautiful names that we could one day read about that would encourage us to remember that our God is faithful and Jesus loves us. I hope that you all will go out and share your stories, because one day I can't wait to hear them. I love you all. I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye.